Hello everyone, and welcome to my Who to 6-Star Next / Fleshing Out Your Roster guide. Raid Shadow Legends is a game of resource management and efficiency. This is even more true early on. Resources are scarce and you have to make the most of them, so Who to 6-Star Next becomes a very important decision, and early on, versatility is the name of the game. So it's very important to focus on champions who can be used in multiple areas. In addition, when choosing your next 6-star, you should be looking for a champion who can fill holes in your roster. Every roster should have at least one of the following: a campaign farmer, an arena nuker, a wave clear damage dealer for dungeons and Doom Tower, a decreased defense champion, a speed champion, a strong poisoner, an HP burn champion, a champion who brings healing and shields, additional support such as decreased attack, crowd control, and other buffs and debuffs. The most important thing to establish in Raid is a campaign farmer. Getting a champion on your account who can farm level 12 stage 3 of Brutal Campaign is a massive boost for your account, as it allows you to get your next 6-star sooner and boost your silver acquisition. For 99% of players, this will be your starting champion, as all 4 starting champions make great campaign farmers. After that's settled, the next thing you need to square away is the arena. Luckily, by this point you have already 6-starred your starting champion, because they will double as your arena nuker as well as your primary damage dealer in all dungeons. Advancing into Gold Arena should be the priority for any account, as it allows you to begin advancing your Great Hall early, which goes a long way towards the progression in all areas of the game. Once you've 6-starred your starting champion, the next thing you should look for is an AoE 60% decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. At the time of this recording, there are 175 non-void epics in the game. Out of those, there are only 7 that can do this type of ability that are worth investing in. Those epics are Stagnite, Deacon Armstrong, Ugo, Siege Hulk, Duck the Pierced, Thylesia, and Tyrell. So 7 out of 175, that means each time you pull an epic, you only have a 4% chance to get one of these champions. So if you don't get one of these champions early on, what other options are there? Enter War Maiden. War Maiden is a rare champion who can be farmed from level 9 of campaign. And if you farm enough extra copies of her, you can book her for free. This might take a few weeks, however. On this account, I had to farm Deadlands for 2 weeks straight just to get it done. But if you're early game, this is still a nice opportunity to farm up some food and a little silver while you're at it. And while 2 weeks sounds like a long time in Raid Shadow Legends, that's basically nothing. And at the end of the day, she's still easier to book out than an epic. The next thing you'll want, not only for Arena, but in Dungeons and Doom Tower as well, is a speed champion to keep your team moving and ideally slowing the other enemy team down. If you were fortunate enough to pull Deacon Armstrong, then congrats, he's your decreased defense champion and your speed champion. For the rest of us unfortunate plebs, we'll have to look elsewhere. But fear not, there are some other great options, particularly High Katoon, a free 30-day login reward. In the nearly 3 years I've been playing Raid, I've played on many accounts, but it wasn't until I decided to abandon my old pay-to-win account and start over fresh on a free-to-play account that I finally took the plunge to leveling High Katoon to 60. And the only reason I did was to make an unkillable claim boss team. But since I had invested in her, I decided to try her out in dungeons, and I was blown away by just how good she really is. High Katoon, in my opinion, is the most underrated epic in the game. While my account has since outgrown her, I wouldn't have gotten this far this fast without her. Complete game changer. I would highly recommend 6-starring Haikatoon. You will not regret it. In fact, let's take a closer look at Haikatoon and Lady Kimmy side by side, and keep in mind, Lady Kimmy is regarded as one of the best speed champions in the game. But if we're talking pure speed and turn meter manipulation, these two champions are remarkably similar. If we forget all the extra fancy stuff on top and strip her down to just what she does in terms of raw speed, Lady Kimmy's A3 has a 15% turn meter boost and a 30% increased speed buff. Now, let's look at Haikatoon's A2. Look familiar? 15% turn meter boost and 30% increased speed buff. Now back to Lady Kimmy. Again, just looking at her from a pure speed perspective, what does she bring on her A2? 30% decreased speed debuff and an AoE 15% turn meter reduction. Compared to Haikatoon's A3, you'll notice she also has an AoE 15% turn meter reduction. Only a 75% compared to Lady Kimmy's 100%, but still remarkably similar. And while Haikatoon doesn't place decreased speed on an AoE, she does place it on her A1, which is one of the most powerful debuffs in the game. Lady Kimmy has a 30% speed aura, but it only works in Doom Tower. Haikatoon's aura is 19%, but it works in all battles. Haikatoon is an insanely powerful epic champion. You will not replace her as your speed champion unless you pull Deacon Armstrong, Lysandra, or Lady Kimmy. Now, who to 6-star after this point is a difficult decision. You should consider using an increased attack champion to help your arena nuker slam down the enemies, but you can use a champion at 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star to do this job. They don't have to be level 60. I would recommend shaping up your Demon Lord Claim Boss team, your Dragon Slayer team, and your Spider's Den team next. Why these 3 areas? Well, Clan Boss is super important because it's the only area in the game where you can get shards and books on a semi-regular basis. Dragon Slayer is important because it gives you speed set gear, accuracy set gear, and lifesteal gear. These sets are super important for progressing accounts. Lifesteal gear in particular is a really strong set for Clan Boss, whose importance was stated earlier. Accuracy gear can help your champions gain enough accuracy to consistently apply their debuffs, and speed is particularly helpful just about everywhere, but especially in the arena. And Spider is really important because it's the only place in the game to get accessories for your champions, which also goes a really long way towards getting your accuracy up, which again feeds back into every other aspect of the game. I plan to do deep dives into each of these areas in the future, so be sure to be on the lookout for these guides coming soon. Next, you want to consider a decreased attack champion as your next priority. Ideally, one who has 100% chance to land on an AoE and on a 3-turn cooldown. If you started playing between now and October 20th, 2022, you will have gained access to Ultimate Death Knight. He can fill this role perfectly. There is not a boss in the game whose damage does not scale off attack. Reducing a boss's attack by 50% will cut the damage in half your team will take. And in doing this, in dungeons, it will reduce the damage most enemies deal in waves. For the ones who deal damage based off defense, your decreased defense champion will have already taken care of that for you. If you have Stag Knight or Duke the Pierced, then congratulations, your decreased attack champion is also your decreased defense champion. The rest of us will have to find another. If you don't have a champion who can do an AoE 50% decreased attack with 100% to chance to land, look for a champion who can place this debuff on their A1. If you have neither, you may need a champion who can place 60% increased defense and possibly ally protection for your team to help keep everyone alive. Or better yet, a crowd control champion, someone who can place stun, freeze, or provoke on all enemies through the dungeon waves. Once you have a means of keeping your team alive, the next thing you should look for is a poisoner. If Kale was your starting champion, then congrats, you have your poisoner. If not, look for a champion who has a high chance to land poisons on their primary skill or multiple poisons on another skill. This will help you in Dragon, Ice Golem, and Clan Boss significantly. And by this point, if you don't have a dedicated turn meter control champion, get one. These champions are imperative for Fire Knight and Spider. Armiger is a great one. Don't let the rarity fool you. He is a top 5 turn meter control champion of the game. And on that note, never just 6-star a champion just because they're legendary either. There are plenty of rares and epics that are better than legendaries. You should be focusing more on filling holes in your roster and building teams with good synergy. And along the way, if you happen to pull any amazing support carries, consider making them your next priority 6-star. Again, those who got Ultimate Death Knight, consider yourself lucky. His A3 offers a nice shield and continuous heal, and he's got a nice passive that will help keep your other champions alive. But beyond that, once you've got all your basic needs listed above, the question of who to 6-star next becomes much more difficult to answer. And the answer to that question will be different for everyone. So when you're thinking of who to 6-star next, the main question you need to ask yourself are, what part of the game am I stuck on, and which champions will help me the most? And to answer that second question, you're going to have to think about the mechanics of the area you're stuck on, and think critically about which of your champions has a skill or skills that can help you advance. If there's no obvious answer, then the real answer might just be nobody for now. Save your resources, keep farming gear from dungeons and shards from Clan Boss until you pull a champion to help you advance, or your gear is just strong enough that you can brute force your way through it and ignore the mechanics. That's going to be all for this one, so just to recap, when looking for your next 6-star, consider a champion who fills one of the following roles: a campaign farmer, a damage dealer for arena, dungeons, and Doom Tower, a decreased defense champion, a speed champion, a poisoner / HP burn champion, healing and shields, and additional support like decreased attack, crowd control, and other miscellaneous buffs. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you found this guide helpful, be sure to give it a like, as it helps other players like yourself find this video in the future. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. My channel is still very new and your support goes a long way towards helping me grow, and I've got videos coming every week. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and until next time, happy raiding.